Greeting guys. Hope everybody's doing okay. I want us to do a series of organic chemistry from the first part of organic chemistry, surely like until the last part of organic chemistry. Try to teach each other and try to help each other with organic chemistry where we can possibly assist. So I want us basically to start with what is organic chemistry and then what happens actually in the organic chemistry. So this is what I wrote. I said organic chemistry is the study of like a carbon compound. What do I mean by this? Let's just try to break it down into simplicity. Organic chemistry, we are dealing with like now the bond that exists between a carbon atom and other atoms. So for instance, when a carbon is bonded to a hydrogen, or when a carbon is bonded to an oxygen, or when a carbon is bonded to maybe halogens. But our central part is what happens when a carbon is bonded to other atoms. So basically that becomes what we call an organic chemistry. So organic chemistry is just the study that which exists between a carbon bonding with other atoms. I hope that makes sense. So that is organic chemistry. So your main focus or the central focus is what happens when a carbon bonds with something else, right? So that it becomes what we call the organic chemistry. Then two, we're gonna have like the second word, which is like rated or like which is said to be organic molecules. So what is an organic molecule? So an organic molecule, this is what I wrote. I said an organic molecule is a molecule that contain of carbon atoms, right? So meaning if we have what we call the organic molecule, we're going to have the inorganic molecule. So an organic molecule is just the molecule that is like carbon atoms. So for instance, if like it's carbon bonded with hydrogen, we regard it as an organic molecule. If it's carbon bonded with oxygen or carbon bonded with halogen, it's still regarded as an organic molecule. But if we're having a molecule that doesn't consist of like carbon as the central atom, then we don't regard it as an organic molecule. So basically it becomes the inorganic molecule. But our main focus actually organic molecule uh, in this topic. And then now number three, we're gonna have what we call the hydrocarbon. So now this is what I said when I started. I said an organic chemistry is the study of like a carbon bonded with something. So it's either a carbon will bond with hydrogen or a carbon will bond with oxygen or the carbon will bond with halogen, as I said. So like the word hydrocarbon, it has like two words in it. So there is the first word, which is hydro, coming from hydrogen, and then we're going to have like a carbon. So when we say this is like a hydrocarbon, basically we mean this compound, it only consists of hydrogen and carbon. So it's the bond that happened between a carbon and a hydrogen only. So it means we do not have any other atom, but then except we have only like carbon and hydrogen, or it's carbon that is bonded to a hydrogen. I hope that makes sense. So like now that is a hydrocarbon. So our first homologous series or our first three homologous series, which is your alkane, alkene, alkyne, they are regarded as hydrocarbons because like now the bond that exists between them, it's only between a carbon and a hydrogen, a carbon and a hydrogen, a carbon and a hydrogen. So that is that. So these people, they came up with like a way of saying if a molecule consists of maybe like a particular or a number of carbon atoms, how can we read like that particular molecule? So there's a way of reading a molecule consisting of particular carbon atoms. So this is what I mean in simplicity. So if this molecule have one carbon or it has one carbon atom in it, so if it has one carbon atom, then like now that molecule, we're gonna call it a meth. Hope this is clear to see. So like it simply means this molecule consists of one carbon atom, right? And then like now, if like now the molecule consists of two carbon atom, we're gonna call it an eth. And then if like now the molecule consists of three carbon atom, we're gonna call it a prop. And then if like now the molecule consists of four carbon atom, then we're gonna call it a but. Please don't say but. So this is a but. And then if a molecule consists of five carbon atom, we're gonna call it a pent, coming from pentagon. And then if a molecule consists of six carbon atom, we're gonna call it a hex, coming from hexagon. Then if like now a molecule consists of seven, we're gonna call it a hept, coming from heptagon. And then like now if a molecule consists of eight carbon atom, then we're gonna call it an oct. So you guys are mainly tested on like 1 until 8. So it means like now this will be the bonding of a carbon with something. So but now mainly if like now that molecule has one carbon atom, it's meth. If it has two, then we call it an eth. If it has three, we call it a prop, but, pent, hex, hept, and oct. So now this is the way of counting the number of carbon atoms in a molecule. Hope this makes sense. Like, I think, like, let's just have this to be our first session, and then, like, please try to watch the next video so that we continue from here.